Good morning, Tony Dattino, founder of the USA Memory Championship, and getting applications in and prepped for our 27th USA Memory Championship that we'll be doing virtual for qualifying events in July, and then our finals at Full Sail University in August. That as I'm reading some things over the weekend, an article in the April issue of Mind, Mood, and Memory grabbed my attention on how do we stay focused on things that are important to us. We can be so easily distracted by a phone call or someone calling us or somebody asking us to do 3 things at once. And here's an article from How Better Attention Improves Our Memory, which I think has some simple, obvious tips and techniques to it. But how do we stay in that moment when we know that there are important things that we do need to remember and we need to command our attention so we can remember the things that are critical to our success and something we're doing, be it at home with family, be it with some of your critical situations, may it be something at work, may it be something that impacts a family member. So the Dr. Colvin, C-O-L-V-I-N, PhD, at the Massachusetts General Hospital, has a couple of tips in a newsletter that talks about attention strategies, things that we can be more focused on. And I think we've heard me talk about some of these, but I think Dr. Colvin puts these into a really nice little bundle. And if we can just remember a few of these things, I think it would help big time. So the first thing, obviously, I think we've talked about and we know about over and over is the impact of multitasking, trying to do 3 things at one time, trying to bring the groceries in from the store, getting a phone call and having somebody trying to talk to you all at one time as you walk through the door. Welcome back home, and let me tell you about something that we need to talk about. Along with maybe another member of the family asking you, I need your attention, I need to get this done, I have a homework assignment to do, I have something I need your help on, and then you're trying to focus on where you put the groceries and the car keys down. So multitasking is not a good thing if we want to stay focused and remember things. And obviously, minimizing that helps you to do all of the things you need to do, but just putting them in the right sequence. So how do we prioritize the things that are most important to us? And the doc recommends here, if we have multiple things to do, breaking or a big project to do, breaking them up into little segments so that we can achieve success. I think of people cleaning up their houses and trying to, there's a spring cleaning day or a fall springing day, a fall cleaning day, and we've got this big, massive thought that we've got going on, and it's how do we break those up into small, bite-sized pieces that helps us to be successful. So breaking up big projects into small pieces, kind of like a project plan. We're going to do this week, and we're going to do this next week, and or this today, and this tomorrow, this in the morning, this in the afternoon. How do you just break those up so you have low periods of success along the way? And then the thought that she had, I thought was really important, and I focus on this because when I'm in what I call a creative mode, I usually will wake up 6 or 7 in the morning, and I'm ready to solution the problems of the world. By the time I get to 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon or early evening, I'm not in the creative mode. I'm just, okay, what are some of the things that I may need to do that don't demand as much attention? And so she recommends, try challenging tasks at the time of the day that you're most alert. Now I say tasks. The most important things to you, think about what time of the day are you at your peak. And if you can set up a plan for when you want to address those to the point where you can defer to a different time of the day, then that's equally as important. So again, the time of the day when you feel most alert, and so when I'm in what I call problem solving, major issues I got to deal with, 7, 8 in the morning, believe it or not, I'm going. But I've also come to realize not everybody is ready to go at 7 or 8 in the morning, and so there are some people that there's a good amount of people, not some, but there's a good amount of people that give them a cup of coffee and let them get started at 10 or 11 in the morning. And some, let me go play in the afternoon. And others say, let me go do a fun activity, and my brain then is freed up. And so it always reminds me of a workshop I did a number of years ago that we talked about when are you in the creative zone, and somebody said, when I'm playing pool, man, I can solve all the problems I've ever got in my life at one time. And so in the resort we were in, they had a pool table, so the team was in a problem-solving mode, and they said, hey, go shoot some pool, and he came back with some fabulous solutions that saved the company millions of dollars. So find that time of the day that you feel like you're in peak, and prioritize your most important projects during that time of the day. And we often underestimate the power of sleep and or exercise. Sleep or exercise helps you stay focused, believe it or not. Have a good night's sleep and not waking up tired, exhausted, where you're just dragging yourself through the day has an impact. So how do you stay focused on something if you feel like, God, I want to go take a nap? And so sometimes I suggest to people, and they look at me like this is crazy, you're working on a critical project, it's really important, your adrenaline is flowing, and my suggestion is, why don't you take a 10, 15-minute nap? They call them power naps today, but just give yourself a 10 or 15-minute break. Maybe you want to just go take a walk somewhere. Maybe you want to go do something that distracts you from this challenge and the emotion. And you want to just find yourself in a place where you calm down a little bit and you let your brain peek out what it's trying to remember, something it's trying to focus on, and how you go about doing the priority. And of course, exercising. You know, I find myself sometimes either I'm out doing a jog or I'm out on a treadmill. You're focused on a little bit of your running, or if you've done it enough, you're not focused on it at all, you're just doing it. And you just watch your timer, and you just make your Fitbit or whatever it is that's keeping you track of the time you're out and the distance you're running. And you free up your mind to come up with solutions on some of the things that are important to you. There's things you're trying to remember, things that you're trying to retain for longer-term use. And so we underestimate sometimes the impacts of sleep and exercise on our ability to stay focused and remember things that are important to us. And then how about, God, stress? I think today, in today's day and age, if you just listen to the news for 10 minutes, listen to a news report, read a newspaper, an article on current conditions and things, I think we all are likely to find ourselves getting a bit tight, a bit stressed, and a bit worried about, so what is going on, and how might it impact me? And sometimes when I look at things at a national level, I stop and think about, well, I can talk to my congressman, I can talk to my state senator, and that's about it. So if I'm going to do an action, I'm certainly not going to go down to Washington, D.C., or I'm not going to go to my local office in Tallahassee, Florida. But can I contact my local representative for Florida? Can I contact my local board member for my HOA? What can I do that as I hear something that impacts my personal living conditions, that I don't get overly stressed about things that I don't have control over, or those that I may at least voice an opinion on? How do I go about doing that in the most constructive, positive way, so that I'm not carrying that load on my back and I'm not bringing it forward in something else I'm trying to do? And so I think we, again, don't value or don't appreciate the impact that stress has on things that we're trying to remember, or trying to stay focused and perform and do. And then that sometimes will add to our anxiety and worry, and now our attention is totally off target, and we're in this spinning cycle, and we lose the whole focus on what do we do to maximize our cognitive resources for the things that are important to us, that we want to remember, that we want to perform, that we want to do. And so now we're totally off track. And so how do we develop a system that allows us to maximize those resources and build our environment? So what do we do with all of this? Well, first thing, we're not going to multitask. At least we're going to try to stay focused and prioritize things into 1, 2, 3, 4. We're certainly going to try to take big projects and break them up into small pieces. As much as we worry and anxiety, we're going to try to bring ourselves down from getting all hyped up before we try to get a good night's rest or a good night's sleep. Maybe we want to take a short little walk and come back in. I've been reading now about take 5 minutes an hour before bedtime. Just take a 5-minute, and you don't have to take a power walk. You just go out and see what's going on in the world and have it help you distract yourself. Walking in combination, you get your distraction of the anxieties and worries you have, and getting a little bit of exercise. So what's some minor exercise routine that we can get into? And then how do we take the stress in our lives and put those into realistic pieces on, so what are things that I can do and control and deal with, and what are some things that I may have to go outside and contact somebody or go talk to somebody, and at least feel that I've done something about it. And off we go on Monday morning. Hopefully some of these tips, one of them in your life, or the brain, right, that has the synergy of infinity, we can take 1 + 1, grab one of these suggestions and see what the difference may be in your life. And to that, you have a good week. We're off and going, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday.